it's one thing about these surrogates. Sometimes you get tired, of hearing them spinning and basically trying to insult your intelligence. Now, here's a one Trump surrogate that is going to claim that Trump wasn't talking about all Mexicans when he was talking about them bringing in drugs and crime and being rapists. And she's going to claim that Donald Trump in that speech said some. And I went back and looked at that speech, and he did not say some. So let me play the clip.
Trump supporter, attorney, and writer, AJ Delgado. And AJ, with a welcome to you, I want to talk about your candidate, who, as you know, has taken a lot of heat this week for apparently flip-flopping on the issue of abortion. As a woman, as a stated supporter of Planned Parenthood, does that at all make you reconsider backing Trump? And do you think it might make him lose other female voters?
No, not at all. I think, first, as to what he said, it was just a normal gaffe that could happen when you're speaking 18 hours a day. He clarified what he meant within hours. We put out this beautiful statement clarifying that women who have abortions are, in fact, victims, and what his position is, which is really just Ronald Reagan's position. So I don't think the gaffe would have affected him with anyone, especially because I think women in America are smart enough and well-read enough and savvy enough to look and say, okay, let me look at Donald Trump's policies. Are they pro-women policies? And really, his policies and platforms are more pro-women than any other candidate on either side of the aisle. When you think about it, whether you're a working woman who doesn't want to see her job outsourced, or somebody who works in the manufacturing industry who wants to see manufacturing jobs return to America, that's Donald Trump's platform. Whether you're a female veteran who served our nation proudly, it's Donald Trump who's going to help you. Whether you're a mother and you want to make sure Common Core isn't affecting your children's education, that's Donald Trump's platform. So he really has a very pro-women platform.
But, okay, AJ, and I appreciate all that you're saying about that, but I just want to get back to the abortion thing. How do you define gaffe then? Because I watched that interview very closely, and it was, a couple of minutes of conversation, certainly back and forth, but it appeared to me that he was thinking about his answers. It wasn't just something that he said on the fly. I mean, how do you define gaffe? You don't think he thought about what he was saying?
Well, no, because here's what happened. If you watch the entire interview, Chris Matthews keeps grilling him and saying, but if this were illegal, would there be a punishment? When somebody's pressing you, I mean, the famous novel is Crime and Punishment. If you keep saying, but if it were illegal, shouldn't there be a punishment? At some point, you're going to think, well, yes, there should. It's an easy trip up to make. So we clarified it within hours. I think I would make the same mistake if somebody were grilling me in that nature as to whether, well, you think it should be illegal, but there should be no punishment. Normally for illegal things, there is a punishment. So it's really a very complicated issue on which it's very easy to misspeak when you're on the campaign trail. I'm just thankful he clarified, and I think everyone should move on.
He didn't misspeak. He said what he actually thought. So this lady is basically spinning, and her being an attorney, she damn sure wouldn't have made that mistake. The number one thing people do when they don't have an answer is basically say they don't know and they have to look into it. Or, that's a question that I can't answer. Chris Matthews did grill him on that, and he finally said what he thought. So that's not a gaffe, that's not a misspeak. Now his people came back to him, and a couple of hours later they tried to clean it up, and then a couple of hours after that they tried to clean it up further. So that wasn't a misspeak, that wasn't a gaffe. He said what he thought. His people told him that was the wrong line to take if you're definitely a Republican, and he came away from it. So, she's basically full of crap.
All right, let's look at what happened on Friday when Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg's advocacy group released an ad. Let's play a clip of that.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
It sounds to me like Republicans think Latinos are criminals and rapists.
Now, right there in that clip, he did not say some, but watch what his surrogate basically tries to say.
Rounding them all up.
We're rounding them up in a very humane way. And you're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely.
It sounds to me like Republicans want to go door by door and tear my family apart.
Exactly.
Your parents are immigrants from Cuba, so how do you react when Trump talks about immigrants this way? And let me just say that first part of the ad, that was part of his announcement speech when he was saying, I'm running for president of the United States, something that was not off the cuff.
Sure, and in that speech, which has been widely misquoted, he said some are coming over and
He did not say some.
are good people. I think that's true of every immigrant group.
And he also said maybe there are some good people. That's what he said in the speech. So she's full of shit.
I don't see why that statement was controversial. Really, Trump's platform is a pro-Latino platform, and that's why you see so many Latinos all over social media proudly declaring their support for Trump.
That's why he's got an 85% unfavorable rating amongst Hispanics, because so many are supporting him. The lady's full of shit.
If you want to help Latinos, you should be worried about the fact that Latinos have a higher unemployment rate than the rest of the population. So we're concerned about...
That's not true. African Americans have the highest unemployment rate in the population. So again, she's got another fact wrong.
Keeping our jobs and keeping jobs here for Americans and not losing those jobs to foreigners, whether it's illegal immigrants coming in and taking those jobs or the offshoring and outsourcing of those jobs, which, by the way, Mark Zuckerberg is a huge fan of. I know Latinos that have lost their jobs to foreigners because of what's happening in IT because of the folks like Mark Zuckerberg.
In terms of adding the numbers up here, something is not connecting here, AJ, because I know you talk about Latino support, yet look at this Washington Post Univision poll, which shows Hispanic voters 80% unfavorable. I mean, how do you reconcile your thoughts that the Latino vote is for Trump when those numbers say clearly not?
Well, Hispanic voters, for the most part, tend to sway Democratic. So you're never going to have a majority support for a Republican candidate like Donald Trump. But I think
So she didn't answer the question. She went from Latinos are going to heavily support Trump, and now with the numbers staring her in the face, now she's making an excuse that Latinos are not going to be are Democratic, and therefore they're not going to support Trump. So she can't have it both ways.
As the election progresses, especially once Donald Trump is the nominee and we have either Hillary or Bernie on either side of the nomination, then we'll be able to really look at candidates' records, platforms, what they've actually said. Unfortunately, the Latino community has fallen victim to a false media narrative as to what Donald Trump actually said in that initial June speech and what his views are on Latinos. Hopefully we can correct that misinformation and really show Latinos that Donald Trump's policies will really help you. I'm trying to help correct that misinformation that for months the media has put out.
Well,
she needs to go back and look at that initial speech before she opens her mouth again, because Trump did not say some, and that the only time he said some was when he said he assumed some were good people, but he did not use the word some in any other part of that speech where he declared his candidacy. So again, she's spinning, and she doesn't even, she can't back it up with facts.
I was going to say, you're certainly on to do just that, AJ Delgado. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So anyway, so here's another surrogate of a politician, and Trump's got a bunch of them. He's got this Hispanic chick trying to go to the Hispanic community. He's got Katrina Pearson, and I guess she's half white and half black, and she spins, like a top. So I mean, he's got some excellent spinners. Unfortunately, the facts just don't support what they're trying to spin.